is the Power Circuit, a program of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, that informs you about its efforts towards advancing bulk power transmission and its other roles in the power sector. In today's edition, we're bringing you a special report on the giant strides that have been attained in the power sector under President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, while Nigeria marks her Diamond Jubilee. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. Thanks for joining us. From May 29, 2015, when President Muhammadu Buhari assumed office, there was fresh determination to reform the ailing power sector. President Buhari, in his several speeches, described the power sector as a critical one that must be fixed to support his efforts of diversification to a non-oil dependent economy. Commemorating the 60th anniversary of Independence Day, the President still reiterated this commitment. Stay with us through this expository session on his giant strides in the power sector.
Topmost of this reform process is the introduction of the Power Sector Reform Program, PSRP, that saw more attention being given to the boosting of the generation, transmission and distribution aspects of the power sector value chain. At the generation level, President Muhammadu Buhari ensured that the payment assurance facility was injected to the generation companies through the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC to firm up payments for energy from the distribution companies towards guaranteeing more power supply for Nigerians. This facility, according to experts in the sector, ensured the survival of the generation system till date, and according to the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, at a recent forum, said power generation has been rising by 390 megawatts annually, an equivalent of 1,950 megawatts since 2015 under President Muhammadu Buhari. In the transmission section, President Buhari committed towards a holistic reform of the national grid with the Transmission Rehabilitation and Expansion Program of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. With this determination, over 60 transmission projects have been delivered, ensuring transmission wheeling capacity rose from about 5,500 megawatts to an estimated 8,100 megawatts this year. This administration is also lifting the distribution section through the Distribution Expansion Program and other sector-wide reforms that are enabling the private-led distribution companies, DISCOs, to begin to improve on their services. However, the most prominent and current of these reforms is the ongoing Siemens Presidential Power Initiative, personally driven by President Muhammadu Buhari. The project will upgrade transmission and distribution services and ensure that at least 7,000 megawatts of electricity can be delivered by the national grid to Nigerians from next year.
Championing the current reforms and mandate of President Muhammadu Buhari is the Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman. Stay with us as you hear from the Minister in this interview centered on Nigeria's 60th independence anniversary.
Well, Nigeria is generally a country that is coming up. And if you consider 1960 to date, there is a serious development. We are progressing, we are trying to catch up with the remaining world. So I can say Nigeria has gone a long way.
The minister congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigerians for the sacrifices.
I want to congratulate our president and the commander-in-chief, Muhammadu Buhari, for trying to take this country into the promised land. I also want to congratulate the rest of Nigerians for cooperating with this government. And I also want to congratulate again the family, Mr. President. I also want to pray for Mr. President good health. Also may God continue to help him to now take this country to the promised land.
Engineer Mamman said he was hopeful that the power sector would get better with the giant steps the president has taken towards initiating massive reforms.
I want to tell the Nigerians that we are doing our best. Mr. President is doing our best. We are here to help the president to, as I tell you, to take this country to the promised land. As regard to power, we have done so much in power. We have improved the generation, right from the generation, transmission, and also distribution. There is now a very big difference from where we are and then from where we meet this country. Today I can tell you, I can beat my chest and tell you that we have improved. We have improved the supply of electricity from the, let's say, 10 hours in a day, less than that, to almost 24 hours in a day. So it's a great achievement, and I want to assure you before the end of this tenure, Mr. President, as he promised Nigerians on electricity, he will deliver, God willing.
We'll bring you more informative reports after this break.
Verify that land before you buy it. To drastically reduce the incidence of building under the transmission right-of-way or encroaching on designated TCN land, members of the public are hereby requested to verify land near or along transmission line route before purchasing it. Verification should be made in the Land Development Authority or at the TCN office. This would help in drastically reducing the incidence of building under transmission line right-of-way and save us all the problem of pulling down the structure or truncating transmission line expansion projects in your community due to court injunction. Help us serve you better. Verify that land before you buy it.
The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, being led by the Acting Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, is at the center point of the quest towards improving the Nigerian power sector. Here, Engineer Abdulaziz, as he speaks about the overview of TCN and its key achievements in power transmission, still in the spirit of Nigeria at 60 Independence Day celebration.
I want to thank the President, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, for giving me this opportunity to lead this company. What I can say, since the time he came into power, we have seen a lot of changes. We have seen a government that is focused, that knows what is good for Nigeria. Like in the power sector, the example we can give is the presidential initiative power, the one which is carried out by Siemens. This is a very good program, and once completed, a lot of problems on power sector will be history. I thank Nigerians, and I wish everybody a happy independence.
Continuing, Engineer Abdulaziz went way back in the holistic analogy of the power sector.
Initially, we have ECN, which is Electricity Corporation of Nigeria, and we have the Niger Dams Authority. So these were the ones that were responsible for generating transmission and distribution energy in this country. Mostly the Niger Delta, they are in control of the dams in the northern part of the country. Then later in 1972 was decree number 24, the federal government merged the two, and then we have what we call NEPA. Then later in 2005, NEPA was changed to PHCN. Then in 2013, there was this issue of privatization, where PHCN was broken into several companies, generation, distribution, and transmission. All those companies were sold out apart from transmission, which still remain with the federal government. So, and this is where we are today.
After the 2013 power sector privatization, Engineer Abdulaziz said the responsibility of managing the national grid and transmitting generated power squarely lies on the shoulders of TCN. He said the government provides policies to ensure the sector works, but specifically the supply of electricity to consumers was with the distribution companies, DISCOs, while the generation companies generated the power which TCN transmits to the distribution load centers.
All the responsibilities government has had in it. Government must make sure that the generation company generate light. It must make sure transmission transmit light, and distribution company also distribute.
He spoke about the roadmap of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
As TCN, we want to make sure that whichever power is generated, that power is transmitted. So that leads us to the expansion of our grid. We have to make sure that we are even ahead of the generation. Because anytime they want to add their units or whatever, they are not going to tell us. But we will just see that there is a certain increase in generation. So we are doing a lot of expansion, like we can say the transmission expansion program, which is under PMU. Then we have the Japanese JICA. Then we have the African Development Bank and others. So in all these projects, what we are trying to do is to expand the grid. Some are brown projects, that means expansion or reinforcement, whereas some are greenfield, expansion of the network. So if you come to TCN, you see that we have a lot of projects ongoing just to expand the grid so that we'll be able to evacuate and transmit adequate power to Nigerians.
The TCN Helpsman expatiates on the prospects of Nigeria in the exports of energy across West African sub-region.
Let me talk about the WAP, West African Power Pool. This is an association organization of West African countries, and Nigeria is the highest donor in that organization. Now, there are some transmission lines we are constructing just to connect all these West African countries so that power from Nigeria can go to Niger, it can go to Burkina Faso, it can go to Togo, it can go to Benin. So by doing that, Nigeria is earning more revenue from these countries. Presently, we are selling power to Benin, to Niger. And there are a lot of projects we are doing now. For example, we have the NOSCO, which it is a line from Nigeria up to Burkina Faso. We have another one, the SouthCo. So by doing this, Nigeria will be able to send more power to neighboring African countries. And from what is happening now, like the power in Nigeria is cheaper than the one produced in other countries. So that will give us more market and more money.
The Honorable Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Mamman, is coordinating the synergy and reforms for the power sector agencies. Engineer Abdulaziz, the TCN head, shared his view on this.
The Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Mamman, is a great man. Since when he came to this ministry, things have changed for the good. There is synergy between all the pedestals under power, and the way he is coordinating the ministry is excellent. Everybody knows what his job is, and with the sister agencies, we have a very good relationship. I want to thank the Honorable Minister, Engineer Saleh Mamman, for all the efforts he is putting to see that Nigerians enjoy the power industry. He has put a lot of efforts to make sure that projects are completed, power is delivered to every places. He's working very well with NAC and some other organizations to make sure that we have the best power supply in this country.
All hope is not lost on the occasion of Nigeria at 60. Engineer Abdulaziz said the current administration was doing its best to secure a better future for the younger ones.
What I would say for the younger ones, they should not lose hope. Nigeria is great. And it is only we Nigerians that can build Nigeria. Nobody will come and build this country for us. We have to remain here. We have to work and make sure that we put everything up to standard. If you go to some countries, you see that they are not better than us. If you go to Europe, America, you will see most of their doctors, engineers are Nigerians. They are not better than us. So if we continue to go there, nobody will come and develop our country. So I want our people, our children, to know that we can make Nigeria better. That's what I think, and Nigeria is a good place to live.
Aside the milestones of TCN and its synergy with other agencies, the power circuit reports that the heads of several agencies in the power sector have revealed quite some critical achievements in the delivery of their respective mandates. Please hear from them.
The Managing Director of the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NAFSA, and Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, Engineer Peter Iwese, said the agency had continued to record milestone achievements, especially in ensuring standards in the power sector.
We are actually to enforce technical standards and regulations that have been published by the regulator and all other statutory bodies like Standard Organization of Nigeria, IEC standards in the power industry. And so for us to sustain and maintain this, we have broken this down by actually putting in place specific guidelines, and that is why we started putting Nigerian Electrical Installation and Construction Guidelines Manual. That manual specifically explained what the regulation has said, what specification has said, because the regulation is just to give you some specific directives on what to be done. But the guideline now explain in detail what and how you actually have to do it. We equally have the guideline for inspectory services and enforcement in the industry, because NAFSA is not just to do inspection and certification alone. We do what we call inspectory services, which were those functions that this agency took over from the sole activities of the then Electrical Inspectory Services of the Federal Ministry of Power.
The Rural Electrification Agency, REA, is also working on delivering its mandates in the power sector. The Managing Director of REA, Ahmed Salhijo Ahmed, said the agency is working to increase energy access to an estimated 80 million Nigerians that are without electricity access. He said the firm has secured $550 million fund from the World Bank and the African Development Bank to drive its Nigerian electrification program that will provide off-grid solar mini-grids to power universities and rural areas. Already, it has connected several communities with about 4 million people benefiting from this. The agency, along with the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, NDPHC, are implementing the installation of 5 billion solar power projects under the Economic Sustainability Program.
At the REA, we were fortunate enough to also carry out a very similar intervention in 4 isolation centers. One in Abuja, the 53 kilowatt peak at the Abuja Teaching Hospital in Gwagwalada. Another one in the NCDC Center at Lagos. Another 2 in 2 isolation centers in Ogun State as well.
Highlighting the objectives and achievements of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company in the power sector, the Managing Director and CEO of the company, Mr. Chidu Ugbo, said the company has contributed over 4,000 megawatts of power generated capacity to the national grid through its National Integrated Power Projects, NIPP power plants. NDPHC has also delivered 20,000 solar home systems across 12 states, while providing huge intervention in the transmission and distribution sections of the power value chain. At present, Mr. Ugbo said the installed capacity for power generation has risen to 13,000 megawatts, with more coming through the Siemens Presidential Power Project.
As a matter of fact, we have about 13,000 installed capacity in the country right now. However, out of this installed, mechanically available is about 8,000. And right now, we're doing the average of 5,000 megawatts as actual generation because of network issues. So government stepping in with the Siemens project. The Siemens project targets to ensure that we ramp up generation up to 7,000 megawatts by ensuring that, again, the network is rehabilitated and then transmission is also rehabilitated to ensure that the generation is available for consumption by Nigerians. So we're working on that. That is realistic and that is achievable.
Another agency of the power sector is the Nigerian Electricity liability management company, Nemco. The managing director of Nemco, Mr. Adebayo Fagbemi, said the firm has delivered so much on its mandate of clearing liabilities of the defunct PHCN. Mr. Fagbemi said this became glaring that it recently clinched the Bureau of Public Service Reform Award after its self-assessment was rated high.
Nemco has achieved to a reasonable extent that mandate in giving succor, comfort to the sector as it relates to pre-privatization issues.
Training and capacity building is a critical aspect in the power sector. This is the role of the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, Naftin. The Director General, Engineer Ahmed Bolaji Nagodi, said this is being achieved swiftly through the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari and that of the Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Mamman.
Since the inception, we came on board in 2009, inheriting the assets, of training assets, of the defunct NEPA PHCN. We've trained 16,000 since inception, more than 16,000, those who have mentioned, both those who are within the power sector and those who seek to build career in the power sector.
With the support of President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, the sole regulator of the power sector, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, has assiduously worked to reform the Nigerian electricity market towards the achievement of market efficiency and transparency. Key among its flagship policies are the Meter Asset Providers MAP regulation that is driving the mass metering for customers across the 11 distribution companies nationwide. There is also the mini-grid regulation that has opened up a new line of the renewable energy subsector in the Nigerian electricity supply industry.
And next year we put together staff committees to monitor and to evaluate agreement made by TCN and TCN that they will improve its interface challenge, and they will provide capacitor where it is needed, they will put transformer where it is needed, they will do a coordinated plan, they will fix their relays, they will minimize the outage challenge they have. We are monitoring them, we are pushing them to work together, bringing them to the commission to split the differences of the day.
For the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, also known as the bulk trader, its key pursuit is to ensure improved liquidity in the Nigerian electric market to further boost increased power generation, energy evacuation, and all-round supply of power to electricity consumers. The Managing Director and CEO of this agency, Mr. Nemco Ewelukwa, recently said there are ongoing strategies to leverage on these goals.
That is it on the milestones of the present administration in the power sector. In this edition, the key performance indicators have been positive for the sector despite the odds, and there are hopes that these will continue to improve until goals are delivered and mandates achieved. You can join this quest for a better power sector by doing your part as we continue in the Nigerian project Together Beyond 60. Do not engage in illicit electricity deal. Help security agents and the power agencies to safeguard our national assets. Thank you for staying with us on this edition of the Power Circuit. You can view this episode and others on TCN YouTube channel. Please interact with us on these platforms as TCN needs your support to advance its mandate. Remember, coronavirus is real and tens of thousands have died globally, while prominent cases have been reported. We strongly advise you to comply with all directives from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and its partners to stay safe. I am Chinwenwa Anyanwu. Hope to see you again. Bye.